Young ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Once again, you are most welcome here on your beloved platform, the platform for awakening consciences. This is the top story in international news. All Western media are talking about it. American President Donald Trump has just told the West some hard truths. Following the phone call that took place between him and Vladimir Putin, at first, he didn't say much, but the Westerners pushed him until, with his back against the wall, the man told them the truth to their faces. I believe this is the second time, and if the Westerners are very clever and very intelligent, it's because they are starting to understand what is happening. But unfortunately, the Westerners do not understand. All over the Western media, they are shouting about betrayal. Yes, Donald Trump has betrayed the Western spirit and idea of supporting Ukraine and defending Ukraine's sovereignty. They say that Donald Trump has betrayed them. Ladies and gentlemen, what are the statements that Donald Trump made, which represent the four truths of Donald Trump regarding the West? And what are the Westerners, the Europeans, saying in their media? This is what we are going to talk about in this video conference, which I am already asking you to share as widely as possible. Share it. We are at a decisive moment in the history of the Western world and the current geopolitical situation is rich and full of lessons. So it would only be right for many of our brothers to be able to receive this information. Let's dive deep, ladies and gentlemen. What is actually happening? What is going on? It must be said that what the European leaders expected is not what they have seen. After the phone call that took place yesterday, May 19th, Monday, May 19th, 2025, between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Following this phone call, Donald Trump, true to his direct speaking style, made remarks that clearly diverged from the usual line taken by Western leaders. He made statements that represent a departure from his own stance and the usual position, followed by the West. So he first made a point of distancing himself. He did not go into details. He deliberately cultivated ambiguity. First, he spoke to them without being clear. And by not being clear, he is already being clear with them. What did he say? Donald Trump said, I would say that I follow a certain line, but I do not intend to specify which one. He tells the Europeans, I am not following your line. I follow a certain line, but I do not intend to specify which line I am following. Since the Europeans had started accusing him of not being firm towards Russia, a poll was conducted in the United States of America. According to this poll, it is said that at least more than 60% of American citizens believe that Donald Trump is not firm towards Russia. So he says he is following a certain line, but he has no intention of specifying this to the Westerners. He doesn't need to tell them. And that's just a small talk. We're going gradually, since Donald Trump himself proceeded gradually, very slowly, before dropping everything all at once in their faces. Let's go. He says, I have no intention of specifying which one because, in my view, that could make negotiations even more difficult. So, he's starting to put up a barrier between himself and the Westerners. He makes them understand that if he specifies his path, his line, it will make negotiations difficult and complicated, since he knows the Westerners. So he continues. First, that's the oil that was thrown on the fire. And he goes on, he says there are big egos involved in this matter, this Ukraine affair. He says there are big egos, people with egos. I don't know how to explain it. Ego, that's it. They trust themselves too much. They think they're the ones who are right, etc. Donald Trump clearly tells the Europeans the reason why he doesn't specify his position, because it could make negotiations complicated, and because there are big egos involved in the matter. He says, but I think something is going to happen. Otherwise, I'll withdraw, and they'll be forced to carry on. Here, he's talking about the Europeans, and he accuses them of having egos. They're proud. They have egos. So he reads, but he believes that something is going to happen. Otherwise, Donald Trump himself will be forced to withdraw, and they will keep going because they believe that they are the ones who have the solution to everything. Whatever idea Donald Trump puts forward, they counter it and then come up with their own ideas. And they want at all costs to impose their ideas on Donald Trump. Imagine, just think, that before Donald Trump's phone call with Vladimir Putin, they insisted adamantly that they wanted to speak or to Donald Trump. They spoke to Donald Trump. So all of this together allowed Donald Trump to understand who these people are. Please share this video conference with me. Share it. We haven't had electricity for almost 6 hours now. That's why there's so much sweating. And then you see, with the shadow behind me, so we don't have electricity. I'm using household electricity just to satisfy you. So share the video conference. So here is the first part of what he said. But what truly triggered the media storm that pushed Western media to start talking was when President Donald Trump repeatedly said that Ukraine's position is complex. Ukraine has a complex position, and the position of its leader is very complex. Moreover, it should be noted that the legitimacy of the Ukrainian leader is being questioned not by Russia. He clearly tells the Europeans that the legitimacy of the Ukrainian leader is being questioned, is being challenged, not by Russia, but by the Ukrainian constitution itself. So, Donald Trump is more or less repeating what the Russians are saying, but on the legal basis of the Ukrainian constitution. He goes on to say, Zelensky is not someone who is easy to deal with. Zelensky is not someone who is easy to deal with. So that's what he said. And the Europeans, in the European media, are crying betrayal. They say that Donald Trump did not stick up to the traditional Western line. Now, the head of the White House, Donald Trump, also did not hide his geoeconomic vision. Here's what is going to annoy them. What is Donald Trump's geoeconomic vision of the world? He didn't hide it. He told them that he has a geoeconomic vision. When we talk about geoeconomics, it's the part of economics that is included within geopolitics. And in his geoeconomic vision, Russia occupies a clearly defined place. He made sure to tell them that. He even outlined the contours of a future partnership with Moscow. He said this: Russia has extraordinary opportunities, yes, to create significant numbers of jobs and wealth. Its potential is unlimited. So, in the current context, this is a statement that almost sounds like a provocation to the hardline supporters of Ukraine. Yet, for the President of the United States, it's simply an observation. So he says that he needs Russia. Russia has unlimited potential. For him, he's simply stating a fact. But the hardline defenders, those who are firmly committed to defending Ukraine, believe that this is a provocation. That is to say, beyond being a betrayal, they think it's a provocation, a real provocation. So then, here's what he said. Overall, here is what Donald Trump had to say. What should be added is that he says the war, he specifies, Donald Trump specifies, he says that war must give way to trade, and that American strategic interests should not be sacrificed on the altar of endless solidarity. There you have it. So the Europeans understand that Donald Trump is putting forward his own interest, America's interest, since he clearly says that war must give way to trade and that American strategic interests should not be sacrificed on the altar of endless solidarity. What is this solidarity that never ends? What is the solidarity in the name of which America's interests are going to be sacrificed? So the Europeans are saying that Donald Trump and Jin is taking a stance of betrayal. What betrayal? So ladies and gentlemen, here is the headline of the news. We will come back to other aspects of this news in upcoming video conferences. Thank you all. I'll be back with you shortly. This was the voice of your one and only samurai.